All right. Hello, friends. I am cleaning. So if you hear a lot of rattling around and stuff, that is what is going on. I really want to get this done. I even passed up a game with a hot blind of Agricola because I really want to get this shit organized. I'm sick and tired of every time I come in here to paint, I can't find what I want. So we're organizing. In addition to that, I have some boxes I'm putting together that are probably going to end up getting sent out to people. And they're probably going to, and not probably, they're definitely going to be full of miniatures I don't want. The biggest problem I have, honestly, around here is I have too many damn miniatures. The rent is too damn high. And a lot of them are for games I'm never going to play, right? But they're also for stuff that my local comic shop is never going to want to trade for. So now they're not bad miniatures; they're perfectly awesome miniatures, really. But they have just lived out their time here, and it's time for them to move on to another field, another pasture, as it were. And whoever I end up sending these to, because I'm not going to tell, if you get them and you decide you don't like or want them, then give them to someone else. Sell them if you can. Shit, I don't even care. But that's basically it. Like some things I'm not getting rid of, like my box of English pirates, because I have all those ships behind me. I don't know if you can see them. And one day, I still have dreams that I might actually play Blood Plunder. It's a good game, and who knows? Maybe one day, right? Now, these guys I definitely want to keep. They are 3D prints that I made of Wolfgenwire. So, berserkers. They're all wearing like wolf hides and naked, dual wielding weapons. And these I can use for my Hyperborea campaign. So they will stay, definitely. Oh, I could see a big battle in a Hyperborea game between like a bunch of the Vikings and maybe a bunch of Celts or Cimmerians or whatever. Hey, George. Happy Sunday to you, Daniel. Yeah. Yeah, I told my wife about the meme that was posted about the church declaring Allah to be a heresy. And she's like, well, why did it take so long? And I was like, because the church doesn't do anything fast. Everything has to be checked and rechecked and double checked and spoke about and compared to the writings of, the ancient fathers and, everything like that, which in my opinion makes it a really good thing because, you know, you don't want to be a member of a church where just anything can happen at any time because that's just not good. But so yeah, I'm going to set my paint up here, and I've got another one of these that'll go up there, and then hopefully I can get all of this cleared out. And then the next time I do a painting thing, instead of fumbling around looking for brushes or whatever, I will be able to locate them relatively fast. I think mainly the big deal is I just got tired of it being such a mess. But the title of this is Hyperborea because that is what I would like to talk about if anybody wants to talk about gaming. Otherwise, I will be putting. You see how old this paint is? Man, that's a Flames of War paint. That's an old one too. Like when it was still first edition Flames of War. Yeah, but so yeah. Blade Guard veterans, nice. Um, just to be kind of a jerk, not to you, but to the rest of the world, I got rid of pretty much every single one of my Primaris Marines, all of them. It's like I woke up one day and I looked at my Primaris Army, and I had a huge one with the hover tanks and all. Uh, I got rid of even what were they called? Whatever, the hover rhinos. Yeah, I just woke up one day and was like, you know what? It occurs to me I really hate these fucking things. And so now they're gone. I still have my complete Blood Angels army made out of, Mark II to Mark V. I didn't even use the Mark VIs. I've still got a shit ton of the Mark VI Space Marines on the sprue from the Dark Future box set, I think it was. Instead, I got all the Mark III, and then I special ordered from Forge World uh, the Mark IIs and the Mark IVs and the Mark Vs because I'm special like that, like special like a short bus. In that I just I had to have the different thing. It's kind of like I've got a unit up there. Maybe I'll show you off at some point. When everyone else was playing whatever Cadians, I had a huge army of Mordian Iron Guard, Steel Legion, and Death Corps of Krieg. So when I show up at the comic shop, some guys would talk some shit about more money than brains, and they might be right. But on the other hand, the Steel Legion army was given to me for free. The guy who used to be the manager of the comic shop, when he moved, he played Steel Legion, and he couldn't take them with him because he just didn't have the room. So he pulled me aside and was like, "Hey, brother, you want my Steel Legion army?" And I was like, "How much you want for it?" And he said, "Nothing." I was like, "What?" "Oh, chug, chug, chug. Yeah, right." As far as chugging, Nerdy Ogre, I am chugging RC Cola. It is sugar-free RC Cola. Why? Because nostalgia. When I was like 16 years old, I worked on the desert ranch for a while. And every day, my mom would put 2 RC Colas, a ham sandwich on white bread with mustard, and a chocolate-covered vanilla moon pie. And that's what I took to lunch every single day for hell, a year at least. It wasn't meant to be a permanent job. It was one of those, hey, you're under 18, but you can work here, Catechin Army? Oh, yeah. I have Catechins. Actually, I have them here. I could show you. They're not even painted, some of them. But all of my Catechin Army, which, again, I have, is metal. I didn't buy none of the plastics because I thought they looked goofy. But as far as the metal Catechins, not only did I put together an army of those guys that I still have, I used the Catechins to represent the Orlocks when I played old school Necromunda. Because you could use the Orlock Jubes for your Jubes, but then like if you had a catching guy that had like a laser rifle, then you just use your catching, Excuse me. So, like I said, I'm going to be packing up a bunch of minis and sending them randomly to distant corners of the world at some point in the future, but I'm not going to tell anybody when in the future. That way no one can get upset if they don't show up within the next couple of months, because as I've said, I am terrible. If I tell you I'm sending you miniatures, just hold on, because You will get them, but God only knows exactly when. That is a weakness of mine, I would say. Oh, that's too big to go in the box. That's unfortunate. But a lot of this stuff I have here just literally needs to be thrown away. You know, it's good stuff, but I've had it too long. I'm never using it. It can just be chucked. And at the same time, I will continue to do other things. So, yeah. Okay. I hope you guys are all having a good Sunday night. I've been doing this for a little while, so I'm a little tired already, James, what's up, Big James? Yeah, but I can, oh, yeah. I need to save this, though. What is this? It's a Chrysler 69 Dodge Charger. And as you can see, the wheels are removed from it. And I haven't put a driver in it yet, but this is a guy I'm making for Gaslands. He stays. I mean, Gasland guy stays. That's still a game that I actually really like and do sometimes get to play. So, somebody on Discord or something was saying, what about Gaslands? And all I can say is it's a great game. Probably one of the best games. And just dirt cheap. See, like right here, this come from the set that Gaslands puts out for weapons. And it's an actual guy behind you can't see it, but it's behind a minigun that you can put on the top. And then I've got like the smaller minigun that you can slide in somewhere if you want. It's really just a really good game. And the best part is it's super cheap, man. Like all you need to play the game is the rule book and some Matchbox cards, and you are set. I mean, set to go, man. Just good to go with your little Matchbox cards, Okay, so is there anything else in here I'm getting rid of? Let's see. Yeah, I can get rid of these. This is trash. These I'll probably never use again. These guys are trash. Just been hanging on to them forever. So now we will set this aside. Like right here, I had to do this. I just had to because some of you may know, because I talk about it a lot, that I used to own a Fiat 500 Sport. And so I was at the Walmart with my wife, and when we were in the line to check out, what do I see but a Fiat 500 Sport? So I've replaced the tires already, and if you look real close, there's a driver inside, and it's got some, deployment devices on the back for dropping like oil or stuff like that. Yeah, these are basically oil dispensers. I don't know if I'm going to put a gun on this guy or just go super cheap, Just, yeah. I am a huge fan, actually, of Gaslands. And my favorite way to play is to play it on a long table where you end up actually barely moving the cars, but you move the terrain. So then as terrain leaves the table, you put new terrain on the table and the highway just keeps going, right? And that way you can play a game that's very reminiscent of like Mad Max Part 2 or 1. Uh, I mean, the tracks are cool. I've got a big neoprene Gaslands track with all the gates and stuff. That's pretty cool. I mean, I like it. It's a lot of fun. But to me, nothing beats the whole, you're trying to outrun a bunch of bandits that want to kill and eat you kind of thing. That, to me, that seems like there's a lot more stakes involved. I mean, literally human stakes. And of course, one of my favorite mentors of all time. That's right, Dr. Evil. Oh, he's too tall. I'm going to have to sit him up here next to my giant and my flying ships. There you go, Dr. Evil. And my Mishka, it's bear eating yard gnomes. My wife's friend bought this for me because around here, my nickname is actually Bear. That's what my wife calls me. She calls me her bear. And, because I'm big and hairy and she's little. And so I guess if I'm her bear, she would be my Goldilocks. Something like that. So anyway, actually sweating in here. Whew. So let's see. Now, one thing I need to do, though, I haven't even painted this guy, or if I did paint him, I must have stripped him. A long, long time ago, when they had gotten rid of the unseen mechs, I bought some from Iron Wind, and this is their version of like the Marauder. It's all blocky and weird. And instead of the AC5, it's got two SRM6s on the roof. I think those are LRM10s. So I'm not 100% sure what model this is. Mario Kart, yeah, if you play on the track, it's basically you're playing Mario Kart, which, as I said, a lot of fun. And like all the games that they make, Osprey or whatever, like most of them anyway, in Car Wars, you know, if you're playing on a track or whatever, you typically get X amount of points and you can buy 3 cars or more, you know, depending if you want to take motorcycles and whatever, right? And then if one of your cars gets destroyed in the game, you just take it off the table and then it has to start back at the beginning, and it only has 1 hit point left, basically. So you can continue, even if your whole team gets wiped out, right, you know, really quick in the beginning due to just bad luck or whatever, you still get to play, you know. And that's the same thing I was saying about Frostgrave. You know, even if your gang gets completely decimated in a match, as long as your wizard or apprentice lives, you can still show up at the next game with a full 10-man squad. And that is where, in my opinion, Mordheim and Necromunda fell. Because if you played a campaign with either of those games, and you had a really bad game and got a lot of your dudes killed, if you didn't have a ton of money on hand, you couldn't replace them, you know? And that would lead to a lot of people dropping out of campaigns, not because they wanted to, but because they had no choice. Because who wants to show up to a Necromunda match with like 3 guys? Especially if you're going up against another Necromunda game that has like, you know, 12. That's just not going to work, you know? It's just waiting for yourself to be abused. And a lot of people, it turns out, are not going to sit around and just wait to be abused like that. They'll just go find something other to do that weekend. And yeah, so the fact that you can always show up with the full 10 guys is really a brilliant move by Joseph McCullough. It is really a smart move on his part as a game designer. A little bit aggravated. I found all of my BattleTech transfers except for the one I'm looking for. That's how this whole cleaning thing began. I've got the Draconis Combat. I literally right here underneath my dropship have all of these transfers for BattleTech. I've got the Capellan Configuration or Confederation, Merrick, first Merrick Militia, which is St. Michael diving out of the sky. You can't see it, but believe me on that. Then we've got Lyran Commonwealth, Davian, House Curita, Draconis Combine, which means I'm missing my House Merrick and my Sword of Light transfer. And, you know, they all should have been in the same place, but they weren't. So now, as you do, I am tearing my room apart, reorganizing it. At least we'll call it reorganizing it. And also looking for my damn Merrick transfers because I have mechs that I actually wanted to transfer up and put the Merrick Eagles on them. Also, happy news. Oh, Celts. I still need to do their shields, but these are Dark Age Irish. Oh, somebody's trying to jump in. Let's see. It is Timmy.
Hey.
Hey. Okay, are you going to say something or what?
I see your Celts.
Yeah, they're Irish, actually. Specifically, they're Irish. They're not just any Celt.
Yeah.
These are specifically Irish warriors. And I have another couple of these 10-man bases. And then I've got one 10-man base, and it's Irish lords. And they're all basically, they have armor. And
I got to tell you.
Tell me.
My archer army is getting insanely big. I'm up to like 197.
Okay, that's good. I don't know. I don't have any way of knowing what any of that means.
I can have 197 archers in my army.
Yeah, but is that
compared to others? There's some people that can have over 200, but it's mostly usually 90 to 100 men and main lords, like high tier
so that
lord
is good.
armies. Yeah, and here's how bad it is. My army, I've taken out people like armies that was like 500 more men than mine.
And wreck them?
Yes, I mean I would lose maybe 1, 2, mostly 3 men. They lose their entire army. Heck, they run away with more men than I have half the time.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you're cheating.
It's not cheating. It's just the Fian champions are broken. I mean, they're the best archers in the game, and also some really good shock infantry.
Well, all right.
That's what makes them overpowered, is that they're not just the best in their own class, but also can hold their own against most of the other shock infantry.
Well, I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah.
So this is what I use to store my miniatures in, and they come in like with a stack of like 6 of them. Hey, Steve, how you doing? So usually I can, and of course, this is a special figure I had to have, so I made it. This is a Dark Age pinhead.
Huh.
So it's pinhead, but it's equipped like in the medieval era. And I'm definitely using him in my Hyperborean game. You can count on that. He will find a way to be a monster in the Hyperborean world.
Nice.
Oh, well, I mean, think about it. The player characters are messing around. And that guy shows up summoning chains out of everywhere. I mean, nightmares, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to give this bear away since I've got like 5 or 10 of them. So that bear can go.
One thing is, I probably also didn't have to take my wife off of the quartermaster lead.
Take your
I was,
wife.
yeah, make her not my quartermaster because she could probably, be my quartermaster again. One thing I was afraid of as her getting pregnant and then dying in childbirth again.
Yeah, that is a thing that did happen, and yeah, I'm sure it did suck.
Yeah, it did suck because she was my quartermaster, and whenever she died, oh, there goes half my army I can't have anymore.
Well, at least you love her, though, right?
Yeah, she was a good one.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head at you. I'm like, what's
What?
wrong
She
with
had
you?
great skills.
She had great skills. Look, we don't need
Yeah.
to get into all that.
I'm talking about like her quartermaster and stewardship and stuff. I mean, she had some high skills on that stuff and
Here
a
is
good archer.
my comedian.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a miniature of the comedian. We'll put him right there. And he's painted up like the comic book, so he's got the red, white, and blue and everything.
It's also annoying whenever your companion dies, their gear disappears with them.
Yeah. You know what else is annoying?
Eh.
Nothing. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to be mean to you. You're just a sweet young thing. Nobody needs to be mean to you. Um, let's see. I think we might have lost Nerdy Ogre, which is unfortunate. Or no,
Oh,
somebody else is here. Oh, it's Double D. Look at that.
Double D.
I didn't even
Yay.
see him freaking.
Hey,
Oh,
boys.
okay. So Double D, where are you painting? War, whatever. Oh
Some
no, those are like Napoleonic.
yeah, epic battles. It's British artillery from the Warlord Games Epic Battles line.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have that box set, the really big one, but it's
Mhm.
American Civil War.
Oh, you got the American Civil War. Nice. I'm thinking about it, but I have the. Oh, wait, you do have the Civil. Okay. I was thinking of getting the Revolutionary War one
Yeah,
as
that
well.
would have probably I'd been happier with. And it's not that the Civil War one is a bad set; it's a great set. But try to convince anyone down here to play the Union.
I know. I have that. I have the Civil War one, by the way, and you're right. It is huge. Like it is enormous. But
There's so many things, and I bought it at the time they were running that deal where you got like all the generals too.
oh, okay, yeah.
So I've got Grant and Lee and Longstreet and freaking whoever. Um, but all of the people I hang out with for the most part are Southerners. So then I end up playing the Union all the time because they don't want to play the Union. And Nerdy, what I want to show you is, yeah, these guys. I've stripped them recently, but these are the original metal Cadians. And they came, you bond them in a pack of 10. And it came with a missile launcher, a melta gun, and a sergeant with like a pistol and a chainsword. And then a bunch of guys with just las rifles. And I built an army of them. And mainly because, like I said, I'm kind of a snob with miniatures. And the plastic Cadian, or catechins, I mean, suck so bad. They just look like they all had some kind of congenital disease or something.
I painted mine up. I mean, they all do look like 80s action heroes, so I have a soft spot for them. But
Well, I mean, if you like the big brick heads, I mean, those guys
yeah,
are all square-headed goofballs. They look like Popeye. But yeah, so if you like that, then yeah, I totally get it. But I liked the detail in the metal. But again, like I was saying earlier, I'm a hipster miniature gamer because while everyone else was playing their what's it? Their plastic Cadians. I was playing Steel Legion and Freaking Mordian Iron Guard.
Yeah.
I had a reputation at our local comic shop for being the guy with too much money, which I didn't have too much money. I just budgeted right and bought things.
I kind of had the same rep at ours too. Um, yeah, for a while I just went wild. I was in so many different games, and more or less I painted everything I bought. I painted up. These have been languishing though. These Napoleonics. So
Yeah, I think I have probably some of my medals painted 2 or 3 times.
oh wow,
Like I painted them, and I really sucked at the time I painted them.
so you
So
strip
then I
them and
went back and like stripped them and painted them again. And I liked that way more. But then later, I found another paint scheme, and I liked that one even more. And so, and that's a good thing with the old metals is, yeah, they're pretty. You could put them in some green stuff or whatever and leave them there for a while.
yep. What else is new, James?
My wife has been, dealing with something, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
oh no, it's nothing serious. Probably she just ate something and it didn't agree with her, but
Well, regardless, I hope she feels better.
yeah, me too. And then I right now I'm trying to organize my room because I let my desk get all out of hand.
Oh yeah,
To the point that I really couldn't even work at my desk hardly. I'm trying to paint miniatures with like a 5 square inch spot. So
I hear you. Happens here too.
yeah, my room is a constant battle. It's like I'll work real hard and get it perfectly organized, and then slowly over time it'll fall apart, and then I'll have to work my ass off again and try to organize it.
Yep. Problem with these 15 millimeters, it's that age old question. It's like too much detail for the scale. So it's always like you always have to kind of pull yourself back. Like, am I painting too much? So I think I finally hit that balance of how is this going to look on a table with 50 other stands.
Well, you're playing hard mode too, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, the British and the French and all their super colorful uniforms, like what I was painting up, you're literally, you got some dudes wearing gray coats and baby blue pants because they all wear baby blue pants.
Right.
And then some other dudes with blue coats and baby blue pants. And then if you want to get really, really wild, you can give some of your gray coat guys beech nut brown.
Yeah.
And maybe paint the blanket across their knapsack like different colors to represent mom made it for them. But the union guys, you can't really use any sort of like creativity because they're all uniform. They all have the same damn forge hats, the same shell coats.
I kind of did discover one thing though. I didn't discover with my French, who are pretty much completely painted up, other than the main, like the big officers, like Napoleon and some of his generals. I still had to paint, but I figured out you generally don't have to really paint the back of the front row and the front of the back row too much. So I started that with my British, and I was actually kind of happy that I probably cut down the time by like 30% to finish the British line infantry. Just by kind of not ignoring it, but I just kind of dry brush, dark color, dry brushed, looks just fine,
That makes a lot of sense. I kind of wish I had thought of that. I painted mine before they were on the base.
I did, I think 3 and 3 sprues of the rebels and the Yankees for the Civil War. But honestly, that was probably 4 years ago. I got it right when it came out, painted them right away, and then just kind of put it down and got distracted by other shiny things.
like you do.
Oh yeah,
And I don't mean you, I mean me
we
too.
all. Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying, as you
Oh yeah.
do, you think you're doing whatever the game you want to play, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh,
Well, I wasn't even thinking of these guys about. They were just kind of sitting here, and I was just kind of ignoring them. And then all of a sudden, I don't know. I think on YouTube that Epic History Napoleon series was recommended, so I started watching it again. And
good series.
have you ever seen that?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really good.
it is.
Um, so I was just kind of like, maybe it's time. Let's get these
Well,
babies done.
I got to watch out for watching stuff like that, or I'll end up like the other day I was watching. I forget the name of the channel now, damn it, but they were doing this whole video on the war between Rome and Carthage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like animated, but it was, and the next thing I know, I'm looking around and Warlord Games is like, hey, check out these like 10 millimeter Romans. Punic War over here, right? And I'm just like, oh man. And finally I convinced myself no, but
Yeah, that's
I was looking pretty hard at it.
yeah. No, they have this epic line now for Rome. They have it for the was it? I think this English Civil War, maybe.
That's what my homie Holy Diver, also now known as the Angry Tabletop Nerd.
Mhm.
That is kind of his deal for a while. He was playing a lot of pike and shot.
Yeah.
But he was, 28 mil. And then lately, other than his 40K miniatures, because he's always painting orcs, God bless him, he's been painting the War Master stuff. And I think he's been painting like Bretonians.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not even sure what size those guys are, but they're small.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, good stuff though. Good stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, if I were going to play any like really small scale stuff like in the future, other than BattleTech, like if I were going to buy something like that, it would definitely be the Punic Wars. But I'm not going to, and you know why?
Why?
Because I bought Gorum et Mortis.
Mm-hmm.
It came out, and I have an entire Mongol army, a huge Byzantine army, Nicaean period or Nicaean period. Anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have this whole other miniatures rule set where, and I have, I've showed them off before. I've got the Anglo-Saxons, I've got the Slavs, which will sometimes be allied with the Byzantines. And then I've got the, the Mongols, who are absolute badasses.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you ever played Impetus?
No, sir, I have not.
That's a huge game at our local store.
Really?
It's like a small scale. Yeah, I've never gotten into it, but I always see all the old heads there playing it like a lot.
At my store, we got some. I don't even want to call them old, since
That's us now.
that's us now, but they're still up there. And what these jokers did is they ordered like a bunch of 20 mil scale tanks.
Look, shark.
And infantry. Oh, Shark, chomp chomp. What's up, brother?
Dork.
And they remade their Memoir 44 game in 20 mil scale.
Oh, really?
So like the hexes are like 3 inches across, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they set the map up, it's as big as a game table. And instead of having like the little tanks, the American side has 3 20 mil Shermans. And then the infantry. And the German side has 3 20 mil Panzer IVs, I think they use.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got the 20 mil T-34s, and I think they bought all of this stuff from Zastava, or there's a Russian company that starts with a Z that makes a bunch of like that 20 mil World War II stuff,
I was
and they
wondering
got it
because
super cheap.
Zastava, so the gun company makes the miniatures
No,
too.
I don't think it's the gun company in Serbia.
I
though.
know.
I think it's the I don't know. Look it up, Timmy. It's a Russian company, and they make small scale World War II figures, and the name starts with a Z. I mean, that's what I can tell you about it offhand. All right, whoever gets this box is getting a shit ton of elf spearmen. Hope they like that, because my elf army is already more than done. So all of these elves in here are basically just extras I haven't even painted yet.
Nice.
Yeah, they're primed black. I'm going to give these guys away too. I only painted a few of them, but they're my sisters of battle, except
Oh.
mine wear white.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's like, I think they're the Order of the Bloody Rose or something like that. So they all wear white armor, but all of their, accent pieces are red.
Right.
And then the symbol is a red rose along with the imperial eagle. I've kind of always been a huge fan of the Sisters of Battle, even though I've never owned an army of them. Like the guys I have here were really bought for me to use playing Kill Team.
Mm-hmm. Well, those things, I think every Warhammer player liked them, and that's why they were so pissed when they tried to start pushing like female Space Marines, right?
Well,
Like you already have a pretty good female representation.
it's even worse than that though, because they didn't try and push female Space Marines. They went straight for the Custodes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, somebody needs to calm down here, because everyone who has a Custodes army has the Custodes Codex, which specifically says they are only men, the firstborn sons of the noble families of Terra. So to change that lore and then look everybody right in the face and be like, no, it's always been that way. That is like the weirdest kind of brand of gaslighting I have ever imagined.
They'll do it. They'll try to do that to you though.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like, it's not like they found one of the lost Primarchs who for some reason was female. I mean, would I have liked it? No, and I'd have kept playing my Blood Angels forever. But at least it might have kind of made a little bit of sense, maybe a little bit.
Yep.
But rewriting 35 years of the Custodes, it's like, no. And apparently they're paying for it. If you listen to a lot of the YouTuber type people online,
Mm-hmm.
the Custodes box set they tried to push out, like no one bought it. It's like the lowest performing box set that they put out in years. And it's like, well, yeah, what did you think would happen?
You could almost give them more credit if they were just like transgender or something. Like, see,
well,
we tried to make them.
Go ahead.
We tried to fit it into the lore. They were women, and now they're transitioning into men.
Well,
Voila.
You make a really good point, because, and other people besides me have brought this up in this debate. What would a female Space Marine even look like?
Yeah.
Because look at how the men look. They look like freaking monsters, right?
Yeah.
Big square-headed bastards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't look human.
I just
Right.
think of the Space King when they did. They made
Yeah,
it.
really. When they put the globules in the little boys and they just turn in a big frothy.
No,
mess.
I'm talking about whenever they had the female, Space Marine, but it's like they destroy it because it's heretical.
It
But it
is
just looks like a
heretical.
dude. It looks like a dude with a wig on him.
And that is kind of a thing that a lot of us lorehead guys from back in the day have tried to bring up. It's like these are post-human. They don't look like humans. They're 8 foot tall. They weigh like 900 damn pounds. Their entire torso is covered with like a chitinous plate full of like plug-ins for their armor to go in, right? And they're sterile. They can't reproduce. The only ones of them that can even have sex are the emperor's children. And believe me, you don't want any part of that because they did genetically modify themselves so they could, be extra horrendous to the poor humans they conquer. It's like it's so stupid. And then on top of that, like we got Shark mentioned here,
You gotta
yeah, the
sell.
new Imperial Guard, you can get females, and no one gives a shit.
Oh yeah, they have
Because
female commanders, female snipers. Yeah,
yeah,
I got some in my guard army. Yeah,
yeah, because in a war, we're literally you're facing extermination. The women are getting drafted too. Sorry,
yeah.
anybody that can carry a freaking rifle is getting out there. And so that no one cares about that. And then
Yeah,
the army I play the most now, which is my Death Corps of Krieg. Since they're all basically 15-year-old, you can't even tell,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
because of their weird. They're all kind of cloned and grown in vats, and they decant them at about the age of 12, and they train them until either they die or not. And then once they hit about 15, they're shipped off.
Are those figures still hard to kind of get for the Death Corps?
Well, a long time ago, they were when you had to buy everything through Forge World.
Mm-hmm.
But now you can buy them in like plastic boxes. However, I don't know. Like the last time I looked at a box of them, they were like double the price I had paid. And many, many Christmases ago, my wife had bought me like 5 boxes when they're like $30 a piece for Christmas.
Mhm.
So I've got like 100 actual Death Corps infantrymen, not
Nice.
counting all the special weapons and
Yeah.
heavy. And I don't even fill them with vehicles. I mean, that is a pure infantry army, which kind of sucks because if I played them against my still Legion with all the Chimeras and tanks and shit, I don't know how that would work out. But they do have.
I'd guess
Uh,
poorly.
I don't know. I was getting ready to argue with myself. One thing about my Death Corps guys, though, is they have a shit ton of artillery and a
Fair.
shit ton of heavy weapons teams, like everywhere. So you've got all these infantry, light infantry, basically, right? But they're all supported with just teams of autocannon, las cannons, and freaking, basilisks.
I guess it
without-
depends. Are they squishy enough where they're gonna die before getting to the enemy, or do they get close enough to
Well,
destroy
they're
them?
Imperial Guard, dude. They're guys in basically like long coats.
Yeah.
So yeah, if somebody opens up on them with like an Alcan, which is basically like a 20 millimeter gun, they're not gonna have a good time with that. A heavy stubber is like a 50 cal. You
Death
figure.
Corps seems like they'd be pretty easy to paint. I mean, not easy, but like kind of fun because.
No, you had it right the first time.
What's that?
You had it right the first time.
Kind of. I mean, what like kind of dark blue trench coats, right? From what I remember, the steel helms.
Well, there's a lot of different paint schemes. Some of mine, like you said, are wearing the French Horizon blue. But then some of them are wearing like German field gray, but they're still wearing like the blue pants. Whereas the ones in long blue coats are wearing a darker blue pants.
Mm-hmm.
And the only difference in that is some of them could be considered engineers and others would be like light infantry. So, if I have like a whole platoon of guys and they're all wearing blue, that's light infantry. But if I got a whole platoon of guys and they all got shovels and freaking pickaxes and they're wearing that drab greenish color, they're engineers. In game, it don't mean much at all. It's just like I've told you before, Double D, I am a lore guy now. I went through the phase where I was a win at all costs guy.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I got over that. So
Yep.
now I'm a lore guy. I paint my miniatures to fit lore. I don't give a shit if whatever I play is the most optimal or anything like that. I just play what the lore says I should be playing.
Here. Yep. Same with me. I've sort of always been that though. I've never been a win at all costs guy. I've always just kind of just there for the, just there to play and have fun. I mean, it's not that I mean, I want to win, but it's like I'm not going to sit there and like just min max every freaking thing and just be so cheesy, like some of these guys do.
Like me.
And the funniest thing is sometimes I'm not even playing to win, but somehow I'll do it because my friend just has such bad luck.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I don't want to win, and I'm not saying I show up at the table with my fluffy ass army and then do stupid shit. I'm going to use that fluffy list to do what I can, right? But there was a time
in one of my war games. Sorry.
Go ahead.
There was one time in my war game where I wasn't even trying to win. I was just testing out certain units to see if they would work, kind of.
Yeah.
and I mean, they worked well because, I don't know, my opponent just had terrible luck.
Well, when I got into Warhammer originally, 40K, I was a hyper competitive guy just by nature. And I don't know if it was personality or military or whatever it was. I was super hyper competitive. I had to win. So even though I did pick Blood Angels, they weren't fluffy lists. They were like whatever was the most effective at the time. I was throwing multiples of it at you. And eventually, I don't know. I think what do they call that? I got older, a little mature, realized that just not that fun really to play that way. And that's when I started that's when I painted up my Lamenters army, because the Lamenters army I painted, see, still Blood Angels, but yellow, no more red.
Uh-oh. Okay,
that was like my fluffy knew I was there for a good time. But if I showed up with the red army, everybody knew I was getting ready to strike 20 Terminators right in their ass, and with Land Raiders and every Bow Predators for days. So yeah, it was just the difference in
James, what it is that you either come home victorious or on your shield.
Yeah, that's what Dark said.
Yeah, I see that. And it's like there was a time when that was 100% me, man. It was like I showed up to win and no questions asked at all. But then now here in front of me is some of see this whole box I'm holding up. Let me get it in this frame. These are all Mark 3, 4, and 5 Blood Angels that are more than I can actually use in a 2,500 point army. These are all extra. So they're not all 100% done. Like I've got my
nice.
These are my Tartaros Terminators.
Oh yeah.
Because even though I got out of 40K, I still played 30K.
Right, I remember that.
Like this guy right here, he is a platoon leader, and in 30K, you can fill the whole unit of 10 to 20 dudes with sniper rifles. They call them Reapers.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, cool. See, the whole way units are set up in 30K is like a tactical squad is 10 to 20 tactical Marines, no special weapons, no heavy weapons, just 10 to 20 tactical Marines. If you want special weapons, then you get a squad of like 10 dudes all armed with special weapons. And then you can attach that. So let's say you want flamers, you'll have a unit of like 9 dudes plus a sergeant, all with flamers. And then the sergeant probably has a flame pistol because
Mhm.
that's just the way they did it in 30K. Like here's one of my favorite units, but it's not painted because I don't need him. But that is let me look at him. That is a Mark V Heresy Armor Space Marine with the old school style jump packs that look like
I like. Yeah.
But
Nice.
these are all extra stuff, and then I equipped some of them with like bits. So we've got a Terminator here, and I don't. This is not a Tartarus. This is the other one. He's got a Volkite pistol, Power Fist, but the bit on him is the golden, basically testicle guard hanging down.
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's kind of the bit. Just because I thought it made him look cooler, you know. Like more Romanesque, really, I think is what I was going for. And then in my actual army, which is in another box, I've got the Tears of the Angels unit, which is a bunch of, jump Marines and special armor. It's like no mark. It's like artificer armor, and they're all equipped with like freaking grenade launchers.
I don't know if you stuck around or heard me yesterday, but I did a video on my Imperial Guard army. Probably a couple years ago now on the channel, where I just showed off everything I had.
No, I remember you showed me off. You had the big ass basilisk, and
Yeah,
or
yeah.
not. It's not even the basilisk. It's that weird
Bane Blade.
Yeah, it's like that's like a 30K thing. I mean, it's used in 40K, but I remember that was a Forge World kit. That really weird artillery piece.
Yeah, some of those are definitely like Forge World things. Yeah,
yeah,
but
I remember.
But I mean, like you said, it's kind of like, oh, it just looks so cool, like all these oddball artillery things.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the new heavy weapons box that they put out.
No,
It's
but
Canadians, so of course I just take those and chuck them in a box. But
right.
you can build them to be like Neferwerfers. You can build it to be like a howitzer, a las cannon, an auto cannon. Like there's tons of options, right? So in addition to my basilisks, which are not on tracks, they're the ones on the wheeled carriage, Forge World ones, I have a bunch of like those. They would probably be like 105 millimeter howitzer teams, and it's easy to make because I mean, you get enough spare arms with your Death Corps guys that if you want to make a guy with like a binoculars in one hand and like pointing, you can do that. So there's your artillery team commander, and then you can have two guys, one of them holding a shell and the other one doing whatever the hell, and it looks like it was made to look that way, so that's what I'm saying when I say I only have light infantry. It kind of a lie, because every platoon of that light infantry is freaking backed up with artillery and heavy weapons for days. But so it's a totally different army than when I was playing Still Legion, with like everything's in a Chimera, and there's like 6 Lehman Russ tanks on the field and all that sort of stuff. Because my Still Legion guys were basically a mech infantry unit, so lots of tanks, lots of.
Why do you think so many people, like, because you're not the only one I've heard, like, have switched over to 30K?
Well, they put out a new rule book, and most of the old school 30K players hate it. But the the second edition 30K book is basically a much better 7th edition 40K. And so you don't have to worry about command points and a lot of the stupid shit. But Horse Heresy, you can have Overwatch and stuff like that. So those look really good, man.
Yeah, these are just some. I was making some smoke markers, for like when they fire, just to put smoke in front of them. So I needed to like size it. Yeah, these are my French.
They
These are the
look
ones
good.
I painted double rows. I did not do that for my British. Like I
Yeah.
painted the end guys in the back, or like like this guy and this guy in the back for the British. Everything else was just kind of given a rough dry brush, little wash, and good to go.
So how's your family doing? All right?
Yeah, yeah. I just saw our granddaughter today. My son's like, hey, his wife, our daughter-in-law, she was working today. She stays home during the week and then works on the weekends. So he's like, you guys want to come over and see the granddaughter? So we jump at any opportunity to do that. So yeah,
I got
played with her and visited my dad and my uncle. They were just up watching some golf. So I just dropped in on him, made sure everything was okay.
nice, nice as you do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How about
I got
how about
four-
you? Is everything going okay with you, like family wise, other than your wife being a little sick? Or
Oh, everything's great. As a matter of fact, I may have mentioned to you, I am going to visit my mom the week of Mother's Day.
oh, nice.
So I'll be up in eastern Kentucky in my beloved mountains, being the big mama's boy that I am, and I admit it.
You'll see Hungar there, right?
He's hoping because he's got doctor's appointments and stuff, but he only lives like 45 minutes away. So I told him if he can't break loose at least to come down, I'm going to go to his house and punch him.
Yeah.
Right in his colostomy bag.
Yep.
So that splatters up on the inside of his jacket. And then I'll run because I don't want him pulling it off and swinging it at me. But, that's how brothers are. It's disgusting, really. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
my uncle's up there right now. I called my mom, and my uncle was there, and he's rebuilding like a floor or something because he retired a couple of years ago. And after being retired for a minute, he realized he's going to go insane. So about
Okay.
once a month, he just drives up to Kentucky and does work.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, well, I took off, Bo. When you went to bed, I took off, and then I hung out and did shit around the house. And then a little while ago, I logged back on, an hour ago. Yeah, this morning was just me BSing around, man. And right now is me BSing around. But then Double D showed up. And we started talking about 40K, which, even though I have very complicated feelings with the company that makes it, I love pretty much everything about it, up to about 5th edition, especially.
Yep.
Third was so good, too. Third's when they released the Black Templars. Man, what a good box.
Yay, Black Templars.
Yeah, well, see, third was about as grimdark as it got.
Eh.
And the thing is, now that they've released the Primaris Marines and stuff, it's like they're forgetting the whole grimdark thing.
I was asking if you're
The
still going
game
to
is
paint
no
together.
longer, quite as jacked up as it used to be, which is fine. But you look at your Primaris Marines, look how clean they are, They're like pristine and they're clean and they're standing there in like modern military poses. And then
They're
you look
shiny.
at like really old school, like multi-part tactical Marines, and you could put all kinds of crazy shit on them, and they looked the part, basically, is what I'm saying,
Cool cavalry.
And, so I'm not really a fan of the newer stuff so much. Oh, look at that. Your different generals.
Yep. Got Kellerman, Darlon, Marshal Ney, and just a generic cuirassier commander. Of course, with Napoleon.
I hate to be a nerd, but do the British have the option of filming like a regiment of sharpshooters?
Yeah, there's videos on like how to paint them up.
Like
to look like that.
Sharps War, I'm talking.
Yeah. If you just Google like epic battles, sharpshooters, you'll find a video or two. Yeah.
because I really liked that series. That was a good series.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sean.
And Sean
Sean
Bean
Bean.
doesn't die. That's kind of amazing because
Yeah.
he always dies.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
I always joke around about it. It's like, some producer sitting there like, so we need a kind of a handsome, older, rugged looking dude, and he has to die. And the casting guys immediately like, Sean Bean. Yeah, that's Sean Bean.
Well, it's almost like they're saying like we need somebody who will maybe quote unquote lower themselves to do this, but doesn't want to stick around. So we can kind of pull them in by saying, hey, you can do this weird thing.
Oh yeah,
and then we'll just kill you off, and then you can get your money, and you'll do a good. You'll raise up the level of everyone, and then you're done.
Yeah, that's true. I think for a lot of movies, there's a few movies though, and we can go back talking gaming, but I have to say this. I think that the James Bond franchise never should have killed Sean Bean's character. He should have absolutely been a reoccurring villain.
Oh, in GoldenEye.
He was like 006 or whatever he was.
Yeah, the X.
Oh, you're talking about Trevelyan? Yeah.
Yeah, they should have kept him because that was like interesting. You had like this 00 that was also a traitor, but was pretty much just as good as Bond. Not really because it's Bond.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And they could have rode that thing forever, but maybe it is.
I agree.
Though maybe Sean Bean was like, "I'll be in this, but I insist you kill me."
Wasn't part of the formula back then, if you think about it. Like all the villains pretty much had to die, other than Blofeld, who was barely a villain. He was always just sort of behind the scenes.
He was always behind the scenes. He was the kind of like the nameless villain that always got away.
Yep. I always liked when they put a question mark as to who played him in the credits of the really early ones.
Yeah.
Bose Paint said that he's reading one of the Sharp's Triumph again right now.
You know what, Double D?
Nice.
The funniest part about Blofeld is that his parody is now more popular than he is.
Oh God, yeah.
Dr. Evil.
Yeah, and then the parody became the accurate story because they wanted to differentiate him from the parody by making him exactly like the parody. They're like, oh, let's make him like brothers to Bond. That'll make him different from the parody. Wait, what?
I hated Timothy Waltz as Blofeld Inspector. That was just awful.
Yeah, it's like my childhoods were pretty regular, actually.
Yeah, but Bo, he was unceremoniously chucked out of a helicopter at the beginning of, I believe, For Your Eyes Only, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
There's a reason for that. I don't know if you know, but my buddy Hastermind, who's a lawyer, he did some deep diving into this, and it has to do with the lawsuit between the guy who helped Ian Fleming write Thunderball and the James Bond, the Broccolis and all that. They had this huge lawsuit, and essentially the guy who wrote Thunderball, I can't remember his name right now.
Well,
but he won, so he basically won the right to redo Thunderball himself, and that's why you got Never Say Never Again. So there was always this, right after that lawsuit, there was always this weird relationship where the Broccolis kept using Blofeld, but they weren't quite sure of his legal standing. So if you notice in like the 70s, they really started to get away from him. The Spy Who Loved Me, that was supposed to be Blofeld as the villain, not what's his name? The guy with the webbed fingers.
Right.
And then finally they were just like, look, we're never going to make a movie with Blofeld as the villain again, officially. So let's just kill him off. And hence the weird scene at the beginning where he's hooked onto the arm of a helicopter. And I think his dying words were, I'll give you a delicatessen in stainless steel, which me and my buddy Gavin Morgan still chuckle about to this day. We're like, man, what an unceremonious end to a great villain.
Yeah, I have no idea what he means about a stainless steel delicatessen.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
listen to it though. It's like that's exactly what he says, and I'm like, does anybody know what the fuck that means? And I don't know. I think I've heard some people try to explain it, but it had the ring to me of an inside joke or something.
yeah, yeah. I'm of the age, Double D, where when I think James Bond movies, the first one that comes to mind is like A View to a Kill.
View to a Kill.
Yeah, that was right about in the middle of my Gen Xdom.
Yep.
It had Duran Duran in it, and Grace Jones, and freaking creepy ass Christopher
Walken. Yeah.
Walken, and I mean, and honestly, this might be heretical to some people, but I didn't think Roger Moore was an especially bad James Bond at all.
I think at the time he suffered in comparison, but I think over the years have been kind to him. I think as far as that goes.
Well, he started out in the original Saint, and so, and it's kind of like the other one I thought was really good, but they got rid of Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, that's the one
Timothy Dalton.
See, I didn't care for Timothy Dalton.
And I really liked Timothy Dalton. I love that. I like those two movies. I thought he was a great Bond.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree on that one, but but Pierce Brosnan, I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, I thought everybody
like he had the look.
He's the one I know the most.
And like,
yeah,
he was Bond.
He definitely was the one who had the, probably the prototypical look. Probably since going back to Connery, but I think after GoldenEye, the scripts kind of let him down.
Yeah, that was probably his problem. Plus, he ended up doing a ton of other movies anyway.
But GoldenEye was pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, people forget there was like a huge gap. There was like a 6-year gap in between. So people were ready for it to come back. They couldn't wait for it to go after Dalton's second, which was honestly, I thought it was a great movie.
Well, I don't think I hated him. I just don't think I liked him as much as I did some of the other Bonds.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've hated any of them. There's ones like you I've preferred over others, but I don't hate any of them.
Yeah, the last Bond, I'm kind of like, okay, he's okay, but
I don't like him. I don't like the newest Bond. I just don't like him.
I liked his first two movies. I thought the first two movies were really strong, and then after that, I don't know. Everybody loved Skyfall. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I don't know. It was okay.
No,
and I'm gonna have to sorry my good pal Leth. I'm gonna have to agree with Double D on this one.
Fair. I might be.
I'm not dapper. Look at the gaps in this beard. I cut it off the other day with a pair of craft scissors at the desk because I just got sick of it. And by the other day, I mean like maybe this morning. And
I'm gonna need to shave again soon.
I need to go bust out my clippers. I got professional clippers and just put like the one guard on. And I was going to shave my hair because you see how long that's getting. But my mom, that is a weird call, my wife, my mom. My wife was like, hey, I'll make an appointment at the barber. I don't want you walking around just looking like some kind of shaved head maniac. So I'm actually going to go get my hair styled because that's what my wife wants. And I always say, and you guys always hear me, what mama wants, mama's going to get.
She's calling the shots.
Well, we both know I'm actually in charge, but I'm a benevolent dictator, which means I let her be in charge.
Yeah.
Unless it's something really, really important. And luckily for everybody involved, I don't think anything's really important. So she can be in charge forever, and I'll just sit here like, all right, whatever. But,
good way to be.
Yeah, and yeah, that's all I got to say about it. Like the one time when I was an older guy, our HOA sent like 3 of the dudes over to talk shit to her, and I went out in the front yard and kind of threatened to kill them. And then told them that if they had anything to say, they would call me. Gave them my number. I said, if I get you guys talking to my wife like that again, you're not going to be happy with how this goes. And they were like, fine. See, here's what happened, Double D. They approved the color we wanted to paint our house.
Mhm.
And then when we painted our house that color, they decided they didn't like that color. And they
Oh,
wanted
really?
us to repaint the house. And we're like, no, we've got the emails and everything where you approved this color.
Yeah.
So in the end, after they wheedled and fought and carried on, and they ended up paying us to get our house repainted. And of course, we picked like the best, most expensive paint and everything.
Well, why wouldn't you? Yeah.
And then to make everything even stupider, the one guy that was part of the three that I got onto, he came back to inspect it basically. And he's like, hey, man, just between you and me, I like the old color. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, and then it turned out he and I become like, I guess, cool with each other,
Cool.
He's like the high school coach. No, I didn't actually. I was so mad I didn't even think about it. I mean, because there are very few things that I would say trigger me. But I was walking through the house and the door was cracked and I could hear voices raised. And my wife's standing out there with these three guys towering over her because heaven knows she's practically a hobbit. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
very protective of my wife.
well, women like that. Women like a husband that's protective. Look, my wife will go over to my in-laws on Sunday sometimes, and my in-laws are very liberal. And we've tried to tell them like we don't want to, because my wife's just as pretty much as conservative as me. Like we've told them like don't talk about this stuff. Don't talk about this stuff. Well, one day, my father-in-law and all them, they were doing it, and they got my wife in tears, and she called me. I called them up. It wasn't a very good conversation, And it's like, I'm sorry, It's like I'll be respectful, but it's like
that's just rude. Is this her parents?
yes. Yeah, they're unfortunately they have a my wife's brother. He's very liberal, so he has a whole lot of sway for some reason with my in-laws. But don't get me wrong, we're cool now. We love them, and all that. But it's just like one of those things. Like I had to tell them like, hey, look, we can't be doing this.
See, me, when I'm in that kind of position, which is not as rare as I'd like, for the same exact reason, Double D. I've invented stuff like where when they start trying to engage me, I'll be like, oh, hold on, I got to go talk to my wife.
Yep.
I'll leave them standing there, man. And like we went to a wedding, and I kid you not, they set us at a table with like everyone else at the table was from California. And the first thing out of this guy's mouth was wanting to talk shit about DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
I looked him right in the eye and said, I don't follow the news, bro.
Yeah.
So he shut up. But then later, his daughter, who was like 25, and it was so weird. I didn't like any of the parents, but the daughter and the grandma loved me. Like we were just chatting it up the whole time, right? Yeah. And I do remember, like, I think the grandma was like, so what do you do when you're in Kentucky? And I was like, well, I grab my AK and go wandering around the hills and see what's up, right? And I saw the look on the dad's face. He didn't say anything, but if a picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Yeah.
And just the mention of like someone wandering around the hills with an AK, you could tell he didn't like it, but he didn't say anything because, and plus his daughter was talking about moving to Florida to freaking
find a real man.
no, she was wanting to go to some kind of school.
Okay.
And Florida was going to be like a lot better for her. I mean, she's a pretty little thing, didn't look a thing like her dad. And when her dad was getting some barbecue, I asked the grandma, I'm like, so what's going on here? She's like, what? I said, how is it that the dad, the mom look like they do, but their daughter looks the way she does? And the grandma's like, yeah, that's not his kid. I was like, all right, have fun raising your wife's ex-boyfriend kid then. Which, not that I actually think that's an insult. I was raised by a stepdad, and I love him to death.
But it's somehow worse, like when the stepdad is one of those real, wishy-washy, mushy, liberal douchebags. Kind of makes him appear weak, so it kind of invites that sort of scrutiny,
Yeah. See, my stepdad, who I just call my pops because he's been around so long, he just does whatever my mom tells him to do.
Mhm.
So no one can really judge him for anything. You know what?
Yep.
He just wanders around cussing and Russian because I guess that's a Yankee thing. If you stub your toe or something, you got to curse at the top of your lungs in whatever language you speak. And which for him is Russian.
Mhm.
So I learned a lot of Russian curse words very young. And otherwise he just does whatever mom says and everyone gets along. But my family's that way. We've always been kind of matriarchal. Like my grandma ruled the house, but everyone knew my grandpa was in charge. It was weird like that, you know.
Yep. Now it's the same in yours, right?
And it's the same in mine. The wife can have pretty much anything she wants within reason, but if it's something I strongly don't like, I'll say, "Hey, I don't like that," and she'll be like, "Okay." So we
Well,
got a
sounds,
good relationship like that.
I was going to say, sounds like you guys have a pretty healthy marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've
Like,
been together freaking quarter of a decade now. I had to go through a couple of bad divorces first. You've heard me talk about that.
oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, evil redheads from Kentucky. I
My
mean, I
wife.
know it's a joke when you show Marisha Ray, but it's not really a joke.
Oh, I know it's not. Trust me. Yeah, my
Uh,
wife pointed out it's been 30, 35 years. It was April 6th. She's like, you know what today is? I'm like, yeah, today we met. And I'm like, oh my God, 35 years ago. Like we are.
April 6th, the day after my birthday. A
Uh,
pretty lucky day.
yeah,
I
I
do
was.
everything the voices in my wife's head tell me to do. You know, I'm not going to say anything because I don't disagree with you, Nerdy Ogre. Uh, and yes, Steven, don't mess with my missus. I
Mhm.
consider that I was raised basically like a caveman, Steve. It's just hillbilly culture. You know, there's things you never did, like talk shit about any female in anybody's family. Because when I was a kid, if someone said something about your mom or your sister, it was hands on immediately, no talking. Now, being in the army and hearing everybody tell mama jokes, I got over that shit. You know, I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, whatever, right? Um,
Yep.
but I'm still like, and of course, my wife, she doesn't love it because she is a strong, independent woman, and she doesn't feel like I need to protect her, but I still do though, you know.
Yep.
And you know, there must be something she likes about it because she ain't left.
Hey, buddy, I'm gonna drop. I'm gonna watch the third period of the Sabres game here. So,
Oh, nice.
yep.
Oh, I meant to ask you something real quick too. Have you
Yeah, go
seen
ahead.
the baseball scores this week?
Baseball? Like what score? Like what? Which ones?
Uh there was a what was it? It was the I think it's Arizona or something. The score was like 19-3.
Oh, really? No, I
And
guess I
I'm like,
missed that.
how does that even happen in baseball?
Yeah, I thought there was a mercy rule at a certain point.
Yeah, it's like that sounds like a football score. You know? Anyway, I'll catch you later, Double D, and I
Yeah,
really appreciate you
I gotta
hanging.
go off
Yep.
too. I'll see you.
All
See
right,
you.
boys. Yep. Take care.
Yep, have fun.
Yep.
All right. My homie Double D. I always have a great time when he drops in just because he's a good guy. I like him. I had a good time. Mike was in here earlier and we were just chatting it up. And of course, what made hanging out with Mike extra special is he, like myself, is a House Merrick fan. So I always love hanging out with my House Merrick brothers. That's just, you know, a given. So I found one of my House Merrick transfer sheets, but I have another one that's just the eagle and not the big banner. And that's the one I want. So the quest through well, let me go through this again. So yeah. So here's my weeb sheet for all the people who love the Japanese. And Davian, Steiner, Capellans, and 1st Merrick Militia, which is, like I said, I know you guys won't be able to see it, but it's basically the Archangel Michael falling from heaven with a sword. So, where is that Merrick transfer? If it's in one of these boxes, I will find it. Plus, I've got a whole box full. I don't know who I'll send it to. We'll see. When the time comes, I'll just be like, yeah, you're getting it. I've got a couple of people I can send stuff to that deserve it. You know, hardworking guys. I mean, Cold Iron Skillet, I sent him a bunch of stuff, but he earned every bit of it since he makes all of my thumbnails. And I think he's actually moved on to start where he's helping. I think he's helping Angry Tabletop Nerd with his thumbnails too, which is awesome because, you know, I am a huge fan of Mr. Holy Diver. So anything that anybody can do to help Holy Diver out, of course, I'm going to support. You know, that's my boy. I've been watching his channel for a decade at least. Let's see here. This is just a random amount of weird figures. This is kind of a cool figure, though. Where did this come from? It's just a blonde woman dressed up in normal clothes with a pair of knives, like one in each hand. It's like, that lady's pissed off, apparently. Very, very upset. But there's a lot of miniatures in here I can give away because I'm never going to use. This ain't one of them, though. I removed his hand because I want to put a different weapon in it. But this is actually a miniature of Vladimir of the House of Rurik, also known as Vladimir the Great. So, good times. And I've got a unit of Spartans with all their red, and the lambda on the shield. I've got a whole unit of, I guess these guys would be like Athenians. Let's put them on right. I gave a lot of them away actually. So there's some people, maybe even some of them that have been in the chat that I've sent like boxes of these freaking hoplites to. Just because I went overboard and I ended up buying so many boxes of the hoplites and they were very cheap when I bought them. It's like $19 for a box of 40 of them or something. Like the company that makes them is owned by Warlord Games now, but originally it was owned by some other like company or guy. And yeah, I went buck wild with it. I was just buying a shit ton of these guys and painted them up, and not all of them, but a lot of them, and started playing my war games like you do. Now this guy right here, I'll try and show you, even though with the camera where it is, it never looks right. But you'll kind of get a picture of him. This is a Slavic warrior from like the era of Byzantium and all that. Not a Varangian, just a straight up Slav. So, you know, he's wearing pants and he's got his big shield and sword, but not really much else because, you know, your average Russian peasant, Slav, yeah, they didn't have a lot of good equipment. They just kind of got what they got. So, damn it. I hate that. So, yeah, I'll get this box filled up pretty quick though, because I've got so many of these guys laying about. What I'm not going to do, I think, is trade any of my or give away any of my Persians. Though. I'm going to keep the Persians. Like, I might dump away some of my Greeks, but my like here I've got, and of course they're very colorful, and they need their bases done and weapons done. But you know, an Arab from like the Crusade period. I've got an Arab army that's about 80% done. The whole army is about 80% done. And literally all I got to do is stop being a lazy ass and do their weapons. And like the guy in green, I'll have to put dots or lines or some kind of decoration because the Arab army was a very colorful army. Very, very colorful, you know. So that's just something that's going to have to happen there, you know. So what do we got here? We've got this is another Russian. Another way you can tell the Rus is a lot of times they would shave their head except for like a ponytail or kind of a bit of hair that they left, like a lock. And because I'm always, or I have built a huge Byzantine army, I've also built Russians and Vikings to be Varangians. Because, you know, you got to have your Varangians. That's just a simple fact. You know? It's like, how can you have any meat if you haven't had your... Right. It's like that. This guy right here is a Varangian. This is based on the armor. This is a Russian, a Rus Varangian. You can see he's wearing a lamellar sword. He's got a heater shield with an Orthodox cross on it. And the only part of him that's not armored is literally the holes he's looking out of on his helmet. And instead of having Aventel's chainmail hanging down, his Aventel's lamellar armor coming up like a collar. Cool figure. I might have to keep that one and paint it. All right. All right, so that guy can go. Of course, here we have Leonidas. He's the leader of my Spartans. So, and that a lot of people, like when they see the shield and they see that symbol, that is the lambda, because Sparta was a city upon the island of Lacedaemon. So they would actually call themselves Lacedaemonians as much as Spartans. At least until, you know, a giant volcano went off and took them all screaming. This is an Oathmark human figure that I just put a Orthodox shield on. So, you know, he's ready to fight, I guess. And this guy, he's wearing a leather hat. This is a Young's Viking, which they were, I think, originally from like Lithuania. And, you know, they were considered to be real assholes, the Young's Vikings. Like, just a nightmare to deal with. Savage. Not that blame them. I mean, if you got to fight against a bunch of other assholes, I would say the secret would be to be the biggest asshole of the lot, you know. But they are actually renowned in history as being so anti-Christian that if you went to the city of Youngsburg and they found out you're a Christian, a lot of times they would boil you alive and stuff like that. So even after the kingdom of the Kiev and Rus had converted, they did not. They were like, yeah, F all that shit. And they had a real hate on for followers of the dead god, as they called it. Interesting bunch of people. All right, so what else do we got? We've got a Russian GRU agent with an AK-74. I'd get rid of that. I probably don't need that. We've got another Russian, but this one's medieval, and another Varangian. So we'll put the Varangian with the other Varangian, but I'll give that Russian away just to throw something in there. Young's Viking with a hand axe. Yeah, that symbol, it looks kind of like a swastika, but it isn't. All right, Steve, you have a wonderful one. Got to close up the shop. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be streaming too much longer myself, honestly. I'm just going through here, figuring out what I'll throw away or not. All right, now this is something I like and I need for my Byzantine army if I already don't have one. It's an Orthodox priest with a Bible and a censer. So, you know, if I play my Byzantine army using the Barons' War rules, but set Outremer, so Crusade period, my Byzantines are going to need their priests with them. Man, another Varangian for the Byzantine army. Oh, yeah, this is definitely a Russian, and how you can tell. Look at that goofy-ass steel helmet he's wearing. How it's basically like a kind of a crimped-in, conical, pointed helmet. Very, very common amongst the Russians of that period. And yes, I have a lot of Russians because there are reasons. And like a big one might be because, you know, my ancestry and stuff. I am not seeing my merit guys in this one. A lot of Greeks though, a lot of Greeks. Maybe all these extra Greeks I got that don't actually go anywhere, I'll throw them in the box. They're already painted, so whoever gets them will be pretty lucky. We've got more Russian peasants, basically, running around shirtless. Oh, this one got special treatment. I actually put stripes on his. Yeah. See, and as I've said a billion times before, guys, the best thing, even though these are historical models I'm dealing with, like one of the coolest things is they fit in Hyperborea, like 100%. And because, you know, the Cimmerians are basically proto-Slavs that were ran down and wiped out by the Scythians and various other horse lords. So, you know, and the Ixians on Hyperborea are the Scythians. And then you've got, you know, the Latins and the Greeks and you know, the Romans and etc. So, you know, it all goes together there, you know. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of Greeks in here that I definitely need to get rid of. I have too many Greeks. Need to finish painting this guy. That's another Orthodox priest carrying a schema banner. So, because in the Barons' War, you actually can pay extra points to put priests and banner bearers with your leader, and it gives your leader improved leadership and range. And So there's an actual reason you would want to do that. You know. This is Annihilatum. This is one of my Car Wars vehicles. And you can see how it's got the big tires and the big frickin' engine, and it's yellow. And if you look really close in the windows, you can see how they're grilled. You know, all the windows are grilled up, and it's got exhaust pipes sticking out of the hood. Number 13. Doesn't even have a hood. It's just got big freaking engines sticking out of it. And I've not actually ever put any weapons on this guy. You know, at some point, I need to throw some machine guns or something on this guy, you know. I'm going to set him aside. He stays. All right, so this is a Serpent Man, but he's a futuristic Serpent Man. He's got freaking a machine gun and a backpack. He's getting given away. Yeah, these guys can get given away. Still not seeing that freaking thing. How can I be missing? The one. Oh, well, it'll be a lucky day for somebody because, like I said, they'll get a bunch of free miniatures, even though I don't know if they'll be able to use them since they're going to be just a ragtag assortment of Greeks and freaking Russians and whatever, but Vikings. Some of them might need repairs, to be honest. But I have faith that any of the guys that, I talk to who play miniatures will probably have plenty of parts laying around to repair a broken spear or something like that, Yeah. What the hell is this? Oh, this is an evil wizard, but when I primered it, for some reason, this thing has stayed sticky for like years. Let me drop it in soapy water and see if I can clean that off. Throw those guys in. Okay. No. All right. Yeah, here we've got another Russian heavy infantryman with AK-74 moving in to gank something. Okay, Arabs, keeping Arabs. Dwarves, getting rid of the dwarves. I don't know if I'll ever play dwarves again, to be honest. A lady warrior in chainmail with looks like a Saxon shield. She can go. Is this a dwarf too? That is a dwarf, and this is a dwarf. So yeah, the dwarves are definitely going. I have no idea, like I said, if I'll ever play another game where dwarves are even a playable race. The only dwarves I'll need to keep are the ones that I would use as like bad guys to attack the players should they wander too deep under the mountains. Right? Right. A fully painted bard woman. Yeah, I think I should actually put her in the player pool. I need to call my bro Tony at some point too and see what the hell he's been up to, and if he ever wants to join us on Saturday nights. again. He used to be a really regular player, and then he, unfortunately, they caught. He had a little bit of, or a lot of cancer, and fortunately, he went through treatment and he lived, and everything went into remission, and so everything's awesome. We're all super happy. Uh, but he had to stay away from, you know, people for a while because his immunity was just so, jacked up, right? But it's been about 6 months, so I think it's about time to give him a call and be like, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing, homie? You wanna come over and play some Hyperborea with the boys and the girls?" But I don't, you know, when I say boys, everybody knows what I mean. And I am a little interested actually to see what kind of character he will play because he is an interesting fellow, and you never quite know exactly which way he's gonna, go when it comes to building his character. That's just he's one of those guys. You're just never 100% sure. Like he might play a mage, he might play a fighter, he might play anything. It's like kind of his deal is he switches up whatever he's playing every time he makes a new character. So of course we all, absolutely enjoy having him around. So yeah. All right. Well, that's almost 2 boxes full, and still not a single Merrick thing that I want. I have a bunch of spare weapons and stuff in here, though. I think I'm going to throw in that box just because there were some broken spears and stuff. So I'll just throw a bunch of spare weapons in there. So if he wants to, he or she, whoever gets this box, will be like, yeah, cool. You know? A Chaos Warrior head. Very nice. Little Corn Berserker from Fantasy. Yeah, that'll look good. Some Mark III helmets and a couple of milled Russian helmets. Big orc head. Why not? While I'm going through, I'll probably throw a bunch of other stuff in there as I find it. Here's a hand with a bunch of severed heads on it. I guess I could throw that in there. Huh? Hey, look at this. Oh, it's not a hand. It's just severed heads you can attach to something. I'll actually keep that. Maybe I'll paint them up and attach them to my Ghoul King. That would be cool. Pistols. Let's see. Yeah, antennas. Somehow or another, I've got a shit ton of masts in here from Manowar. Huh. Pretty crazy, Just I've got a ton of the cross bits for the mast. Okay. Here's a sword we can put on. An extra spare shield and melt-a-gun, chain sword, feathers. Feathers are cool. have them coming out of your hat just so you can be all like, look at me, I'm cool. I think that's about all that I can get rid of out of this box. I don't really think there's anything else. Well, no, there's some heads and some arms. So we'll give those away. Yeah. So. All right. And then that means that these guys just put back in the thing and get them out of the way. Okay, so, and did I empty the other one? I thought I did. Yeah, this is what I decided to do instead of hanging out and gaming with my wife. I'm an idiot. Should have went in there and just played. Forget, left this mess, but 4 Rifts characters locked and loaded. Nice. Yeah, I was watching Max the other day, and they were talking about setting a campaign between the Coalition and Tolkien, which absolutely could be a lot of fun. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about the Rifts. I can say that it's not 100% my game, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Just means it's not 100% my game, right? Huh. What the hell is this? Oh, this is Elf Warrior. I'm never going to use an elf, so that can go. That's right. No more elves for me, guys. No more elves for me. No more dwarves for me. Just various kinds of humans for me. Hell. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I'm not being super entertaining right now. I apologize for that. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to get rid of here. Kind of concentrating on that a little bit. What do we got here? Oh yeah, this is a badass right here. I need to do his. He's done except for his base. Oh, it looks like he's got a little blue stuff on him. I need to get that off, but it's a Russian Spetsnaz in ghillie suit with a Val 9mm. Yeah. Dog Boy. I love Dog Boy. Human Merc. Cool. Elvish Cyber Knight. Cool, I guess. And a Dwarven Operator. Me being me, I'm not super fans of the demi-humans, but, I love the Dog Boys. I think they're just the coolest. And, yeah, the humans also super cool. Super cool. But I need to fix this guy. This guy started out as a space wolf that I completely worked over and turned into a blood angel. I removed every space wolf thing, turned him into a blood angel, and then to make him extra blood angel, I got a 3D print of Ryan Gosling's head, and that's the head. So it's basically Ryan Gosling, and he's wounded. He's got like the bandage over his neck because it's from Blade Runner. It's Blade Runner Ryan Gosling. And he is one of the captains or something for my Space Marines. But I've never even painted him. I made him, but never painted him. And that is sad. Sad, sad, sad. Okay, we've got just a dude with a pistol, a fairy. And this was not actually originally a fairy. This was an elf. But I bought the Fey wings from Reaper and put them on him. That was when we were playing Tauslanta, because there's a couple of different races you can play in Tauslanta that actually have like butterfly wings. So, you know, since some of the guys were definitely wanting to play the butterfly winged races, I kind of had to, you know. What am I supposed to do? Be like, nope, that's not going to happen. This guy, I haven't painted her dress yet, but some of you who've been playing a lot of role-playing games for many, many years will know that that is a Yazirian. And her uniform is probably going to be like a starship blue color, so that, you know, everybody will know that she works for the, you know, the United Federation of Planets or whatever. I will not be giving away any of my Yazirians because I love them too much. That's just what it is. It's like, nope. You will never get the Yazirians. I will keep all of my Star Frontiers miniatures until if I eventually die, I want them buried with me. Because I love me some Star Frontiers. That is just a fact. And always have. That's actually was one of the, when I talk about role-playing games that, you know, Star Frontiers, believe it or not, is one of the games that my game group did agree that they might be willing to play. So if I ever get really hard up to play fantasy, or not fantasy, a sci-fi game, and I doubt it, but if it ever happens, Star Frontiers would probably be the go-to, even though I might actually more prefer Traveler 2300. The fact of the matter is, though, is the people I game with would probably prefer Star Frontiers. So there you go. Got a bunch of these too. I don't even know what I was planning on doing with them. But they're the Gartham from the Dark Crystal. So no, I mean, I think that your plan is absolutely awesome, you know, and not only that, but I think that you're probably right as far as what newbie players might want to play. So yeah, I'm not trying to be critical of you, brother. I'm just saying, not my gig. So if I were to ever join the campaign you're talking about, I would 100% want to play the human merc or the dog boy. Yeah, that would be like my thing. That would be like what I would want. But I mean, it's a game. I talk shit about people playing elves and stuff, but to be brutally honest, I really don't care if people play elves or whatever they play. Um, it's just that I am currently playing in a game where those things just don't even exist. They don't exist. There are, I mean, dwarves. There are dwarves, but heaven help you if you ever meet one, because they're just the worst little bastards in Hyperborea. And yeah, there are no elves. Not to say that there couldn't be. I mean, if the DM were to say, hey, you know what? There's going to be elves in the game. Well, then guess what? There's going to be elves in the game. That's just the way it goes. But I'm running it pretty much kind of sort of rules as written. But even at that point, I can't 100% say because, I've had a lot of weird time travel kind of shit happen already the group went to a mage guild and ran into H.P. Lovecraft, who somehow is on the world of Hyperborea working as a librarian. And one day, maybe they'll run into Conan out on the road. That's, again, a thing that can absolutely happen. So let me look under this. Yeah, it's not under. Yeah, so that could be a thing. They could be wandering around and run into Conan and be like, hey, what are you doing? And he could be like, mind your business. And, then they could get together and go raid the freaking temple of the reptile god, because that's the kind of stuff that you do, right? Go to a whole nother kingdom and sneak in and despoil their temples. And so this is definitely full. This box, I even threw in the drive, the gravitic drive from the Event Horizon. So like here it is, completely open. But in order to ship it, I have to flatten it out. And I threw in a bunch of demi-humans and fae and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know who's going to get this because I'm closing the boxes up before I'm deciding who to even send them to. So I honestly, by the time this is done, I will have no idea who I'm sending what, right? And the only thing I will say, if one of you guys want to be put on my list, because I have a list on my Discord of all the people who sent me addresses, just in case I want to send somebody, take me out, something random. If you're on my Discord, send me in a private message your address. It has to be in America because, the Canadian mail system is a bunch of assholes that want to charge me like $1 million to send some stupid shit to Canada. And you'll end up getting one of these very poorly packaged boxes crammed full of 5x5 cubic inches of miniatures at random. So you got to take that into account too. You will not know what you're getting. And I will not know what I'm sending you. So it kind of works out that way in a way, Like no one will know. So this is Call of Cthulhu stuff I need to work on here. So I'm not getting rid of any of this because this is for my Mansions of Madness game. My cultists and stuff. I do got this paint though. It needs to go up here somewhere. Yeah, the beast. the Dunlachor, Byaki, Chthonians, a U.S. soldier with an M4 and an ACOG. I don't know what he's doing with these Call of Cthulhu guys. Getting ready to throw down, I guess. Weird mushroom. Migo. Yeah. Cool, man. Some cool stuff in here. Kind of wild. He's got like a cross in one hand and a double barrel shotgun in the other. Oh, that's Jules from freaking Pulp Fiction. Huh. Very interesting. That old Jules from Pulp Fiction. What do you know? Some half-naked lady. I don't know what that's all about, but okay. Some chick with a flamethrower. I don't know what that's about either. Oh, Hound of Tindalos. Yeah, who doesn't love the old Hound of Tindalos? It will jump through corners and drag your ass straight to somewhere. Because I don't even know where. Oh, isn't this sweet? This is a sweet figure someone could use for Call of Cthulhu. It's Daphne from the Scooby Gang. She's got like her magnifying glass and a stack of books. Little Daphne. I need to paint her up. Now that I know she's in here. I wonder if the rest of the Scooby Gang's in here. Doesn't look like it. Here is a half-breed Deep One human. And I actually need some of these because I have an adventure I intend my players to go on at some point. And the main bad guys of the adventure are a bunch of Deep One half-breeds. You know? It's an adventure that takes place at Port Greeley. And yeah, it's one of the adventures that Jeff Talanian and crew actually created for the game. So this is cool too. This is like a 1920s boxer. You guys can't see, so you'll have to take my word for it. If you looked really close at his face, it's Mike Tyson. Yeah, Thelma. You know, the nerdy one that everyone like does cosplay with big tits. Even though I don't remember her really having big tits in the cartoons. But every time you see somebody doing a cosplay of her, they're like freaking. It's always some nerdy chick, middling attractiveness, but with massive set of jugs, and that's going to be your Velma. All right, so this is Nyarlathotep. Yeah, that's right. Nyarlathotep. Everybody's absolute not friend. It's Velma. Okay, so Velma, Freddy, Daphne, Scooby, Shaggy. I mean, don't hate me, guys, but I have to admit to you all that I was never a Scooby-Doo fan. Like, never, ever, you know? I did not actually like Scooby-Doo. I liked, you know, Thundar the Barbarian, the Hanna-Barbera Hour with, like, the humans that were, like, stranded on the alien planet and rode around on that giant armadillo-looking beast with, like, that shot rocks out of its nose or whatever. This is another boxer for dressed up like for 1920s. It's Colin McGregor. You know, the MMA guy. That's who that is. Colin McGregor. You can actually find so many miniatures that you can 3D print if that's your gig, or you can get somebody on Etsy to make for you of like actual people, you know, characters, whatever, done up to look like they're in the 1920s. So, like I said, Mike Tyson, Colin McGregor, freaking Velma, H.P. Lovecraft. This is H.P. Lovecraft, and he's even holding the Necronomicon. The crazy guy from In the Mouth of Madness. Here's Cruella de Vil, just in case somebody wanted to play Cruella de Vil. And then I forget the character's name in The Mouth of Madness. He played the insurance investigator. And here he is with his axe. You know, just in case you want to run around and talk about Sutter Kane. You know, do you read Sutter Kane? Which, like I've said before, was actually a play on Stephen King, Sutter Kane. They were trying to be clever there. So let's see. Now this woman looks naked. Is this supposed to be a ghost or something? What is going on here? I mean, all of her clothes are ragged. She's kind of not dressed. Must be some kind of ghost or something. BRB. Hey. So I was watching Asmongold play a pirate game today, and I have to admit, it looked good, but for whatever reason, at no point did he ever say what the name of the game was. But he was pretty much on an island building a camp and then building boats and going to other islands to do whatever the hell he's doing over there. And so it was pretty much like a pirate survival game. And I could really see myself getting down with something like that. You know what I mean? Like a game where you wake up on an abandoned island and then your whole job is just to build civilization. I could totally get down with that for sure. But as I said, unfortunately, the goofball never said the name of it. You know, I don't know if it's Black Cells or whatever the hell the name of the game even is. I don't even know. And that's not cool. So yeah, I might actually try to figure out what game that was. And if it is like a, you know, pirate survival game, that you know, because I play Ark on occasion. I like Ark. So you know, I could totally see myself playing a pirate game that's basically Ark, you know. Van Seer Gray. I need to look at that. Now, if I don't end up finding my merit whatevers, eventually it just means I will end up buying more. And then if I buy more, I guarantee you the day after the new ones arrive will be when I find the old ones. Because that is just the way life goes sometimes, you know? That's just the way it is. So, just shake my head. So we've got a Russian soldier with a matchlock here. think I'll throw that in a box to get rid of. And this Landseer Gray, I'm wondering if that's like a express color for like a field gray, German field gray, which is a trick because they say it's German field gray. In reality, it's green. But I have a bunch of primered miniatures just sitting here in front of me. So let's see. Let's grab this. This is a Whitworth, I think. We'll grab this old Whitworth here, and we'll see what this color actually looks like before I start finishing up. Yeah, it's definitely about time for me to go to bed. Bedtime, bedtime. My favorite time is bedtime. Maybe more than it should be because then I don't want to ever get out of bed, but I can blame my wife for that because she bought me those badass cooling blankets and I love them. All right, dice pack. Okay, so, oh, that's a miniature that I need to add to my lands too. The Hermes too. Great miniature. I love that thing. So, all right, let's see here. Grab my big busted up black brush that's all like completely wrecked so that it's good for, you know, painting on express colors. Got all these from Legions Imperialis. So I have the transfers, just not the ones I want. Okay, there we go. What do we got over here too? See, I need to fix him up. Put the coat on him, a gloss coat on him, and then put his symbols on him. That's a big ass Merrick Militia Stalker. A great mech, man. For an assault, it's one of my favorites. I mean, I'm kind of a fan of the Awesome, but the Stalkers, that's a good mech. So let's see. Yeah, this looks like German field green, actually. And I am okay with that. Let's go ahead and dab this on this Whitworth. And then if I want to, I could camo it up like Eastern Front, which would mean some red brown and some dark yellow, as they call it. So think like a really ochre yellow. And just do like dots all over it, like little splashes. One thing I learned when I did play World War II games is toward the middle end of the war for the Germans, they weren't painting the tanks. They would just throw a couple cans of paint inside the tank. And when it would arrive at its new unit, whichever crew was assigned to that tank, they had to paint it. And they weren't given brushes. So a lot of times they were actually just wrapping like old cloth around a stick. And that's what they're using to apply the paint. And that's why if you actually look like you war game or you look into like the German camo patterns towards the middle and end of the war, they're all over the damn place because each one was pretty much an individual hand done thing. Whereas if you look at the American tanks, they are 100% uniform and beautiful because, you know, we were rolling them out ready to go. You know, now there's a lot of variant amongst the Soviet tanks too, but that tends to be based on season. I've got a couple of T-34s where I painted them green, you know, Soviet green, the way they should be. And then I went over and basically dry brushed them with white so that it looked like somebody had pretty much used a thin whitewash on top of the Russian green tank. And that's exactly what they would do, because then in the spring, when all the snow melted, they could just wash that snow color off. But as a result, if they were using it and they got like a big rainstorm or anything, the white, wash on the tank would streak, and you know. So yeah, that's not a bad color at all. I can see this drying and getting all the cracks nice and dark and everything. And then if I want it any brighter, I can always just highlight it with a little bit of Vallejo, field green. Um, and then I can decide if I've been doing a lot of camouflage lately. Like you can see how some of the mechs I've painted are like yellow or whatever, but a lot of the latest mechs I've painted have definitely been camoed up. Uh, you know, and I found the paint I was looking for my turtle, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's a German dark brown. It's a really, really dark brown, and that'll be perfect for the shell here. And then, honestly, this German uh, Lancer green might be the perfect color for the rest of it. See, I'm actually painting directly over the plastic right now with the Express color. And you might think, hey, that's not going to really work. But the reason it will stick is because I wash the hell out of these guys with soap and water. So any surface oil or grease on them that might make paint not want to stick is gone. And I'm not telling you shouldn't still primer miniatures, but I am telling you that sometimes you don't really have to, right? But when I'm done with this, he will definitely probably need to get himself a dull coat to keep the paint from rubbing off. One good thing about plastic is that the paint generally doesn't rub off of plastic the way it rubs off of metal. The old, and even the new metal figures, a lot of times, man, you paint them up, and then during the course of play, say you're playing with a metal Battletech figure, if that thing isn't properly, sealed and everything, your greasy little hands will 100% just pull the paint right off of it. And then you'll have your little Marauder there, where every single edge of the Marauder that you touch during the game no longer has paint. So yeah, with metal, not only do you got to wash it to get the mold release off, but then you have to be extra sure to put a nice good coat of clear coat on it, or the first time you use it, the paint will come right off of it. Plastic, because it's a lot more porous, uh, in my experience, I've never seen paint rub off of like a plastic miniature. It's just not something I've actually ever seen, but I'm sure it has. I've just never seen it happen. So yeah, they call it Lancer Gray, but it's just a dark green. So yeah, there you go. A little bit more. Who knows? I was sitting here bullshitting around, and all of a sudden, just because I wanted to try out a color, this turtle will end up done by tomorrow. I'll do the shell, do the detail work on it, and then I'll clear coat him, and he will be ready to attempt to eat the players in my Hyperborean campaign, some point in the near future. I need to paint these guys up here too, these sea serpents. now that I've got better paint for them, I've got some turquoise blue and you know, some other paints because the players are definitely going to, after they get done with the adventure they're on now, they're definitely going to be taking a ship back home to Comorium from Zimbabwe. And that could be a fun encounter, you know. They're on some kind of ship traveling down the coast of Hyperborea and get jumped by a freaking 60+ foot sea serpent, you know. At their level, that may be a fair challenge. I don't know. Depends, you know. It depends. I have to look at the sea serpent stats and make sure I'm not shooting something up against the group that they just have no chance of killing. It's going to be rough for the melee only guys. You know, they'll have to run up and down the ship and try to make sure they're on the right part of the ship when the sea serpent comes in to attack. So they can try and, you know, slash it back or stab it with their spears or whatever they want to do. So, yeah, that could be an interesting battle. The sad thing being, it'd be a battle where they don't get any treasure because, hey, Ducato, how you doing, bro? I'm going to be closing this up in a few minutes, but I was just talking about a Hyperborea encounter involving a sea serpent and how the bad thing about it is if the players can't dive or look around to find the sea serpent's lair, then they basically have to fight off this giant beast with no actual material reward except for survival. And, you know, living is good. I mean, you know, if I got attacked by a 60 or 80-foot sea serpent type monster, I probably would be really happy just to survive it. But we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, I just started. Actually, I turned the live stream on, Ducato. Hey, welcome back, Nerdy. Because I was in here cleaning. Like you see now, there's not all that pile of boxes here. There's an actual paint thing. There's going to be a paint thing there. I'm definitely going to organize this crap because the last few times I've did like little paint things and I've had the camera facing the table. I mean, it's like an endless wave of freaking nonsense, you know, paints all over the place, miniatures all over the place. And so, yeah, I decided earlier. So all of the boxes of like Legion Imperialis and Bishop's War I had laying around and Crusader stuff, I just put in the counter over there. And when I get done with a lot of the stuff I'm doing here, I can always just pull it out and, you know, get to work on it. So, you know, it won't be a problem. People have been asking me about this damn snapping turtle for a couple of days. So since I found some paint that I felt like was good for it, I'm just knocking it out right now. And as I was saying, I'm kind of breaking a lot of rules because I'm putting express colors, Vallejo express colors or contrast paint directly on an unprimered miniature. But the reason it's going to work is because I washed this miniature really well in like dish detergent. So the colors will stay. Now I'll probably be doing some, where did the SS Bumblebee go? It is actually out in the garage on a shelf. That thing is really big. I know exactly what you're talking about, my starship, the Slefner. And a big problem with it is when I finally had to accept the fact that no one in my group wanted to play sci-fi. So I bought that thing with the thought in my head that this is going to be awesome. We're going to play like Traveler 2300, and the player characters are going to have this whole starship to run around on and, do whatever they want. And, we can fight out boarding actions and do all this great shit. Nope, that ain't happening. Why? Because, like I said, the players are not really interested in sci-fi. Like I was saying, the only sci-fi we've actually played in a while that they all liked a lot was Star Frontiers. It wasn't even really Star Frontiers, it was Frontier Space. But Frontier Space is just basically an OSR of Star Frontiers. It kind of uses the same rules and everything. And if you want to, you can do what I do and just ignore the aliens the guy created for that game and use the aliens from Star Frontiers. So, players can play Rusk and Usarians and whatever else. And, everybody can have a wonderful time. What is this? Oh, Harold, King of Skimfar, legendary creature, elf warrior. Yeah, whatever. A weather die. Just in case you want to roll a die to see what the weather's going to be like. Let's see. Oh, it says here that it will be partly cloudy tomorrow. Or whatever. Dragon Red, this is a really good red-brown for painting German tanks. If you're trying to do an Eastern Front paint scheme. Because you need, like I said, you need red-brown and you need the ochre yellow. And then pretty much any sort of green, really. I've got this is a NVA fighter with an RPG. I went through this phase where I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a Vietnamese and a U.S. Army for, the Vietnam War. And I picked up some stuff from Rubicon, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. And then never did anything with it. Even though right up there, I've got my UH-1 gunship painted up and everything. I just need to stick some, I think I'll make that, first cab or something like that. But, yep. Yep. So, me tortas. What is a tortoise? You know what a turtle is? Same thing. Never seen a turtle. It's not really that deep of a cut, you know what I mean? I'm sure all of us nerds here know exactly where that's from. So Leon, tell me about your mother. My mother? I'll tell you about my mother. Blam! Pew, pew. Freaking. The guy who played Leon, I have seen him in so many good movies. It's like, for a guy who never actually hit it off big, he was in an absolute ton of movies, man. It is like he was like everybody's favorite guy to call when they just didn't know who else to call, I guess. Like, I don't even know the name of that guy, but He was in pretty much every low budget sci-fi forever, you know. Okay. Oi, 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 oi. Ziggy zaggy, ziggy zag. Oi, oi, oi. But yeah, Nerdy Ogre's working on a Rifts game. So that could be a lot of fun. All you rifters out there. I mean, Nerdy Ogre, you're going to probably be happy to hear this. Before I leave, I will tell you this. If I haven't told you before, I'm going to tell you it now, right? So I bought all the Rift stuff that was out for Savage Worlds like a year ago or so. Read it all, thought about running a game, and then realized it sucked. And then realized that if I'm ever going to run Rifts, I'm just going to buy the freaking Rifts books because I don't know. Every now and then I decide to pick up Savage World something to give it a shot. And every damn time I am disappointed. You know what I mean? It's like, and everyone I know is constantly yammering in my ear about how awesome Savage Worlds is. But I don't know why they would say that because I look at it and I'm like, this game is barely a role playing game. It's super shallow. Like everything about it is really shallow. Character advancement is shallow. You know, everything. It's just everything is. And I know why. I know why. Because Savage Worlds originally started out as a skirmish combat game for frickin' uh, Deadlands when it was still Pinnacle and you still had the orange books. And then at some point they decided to get rid of the original orange books. What's up, Coco? They decided to get rid of the original orange books and just make everything Savage Worlds. And I have to tell you, man, I just think it sucks. Breon James, did he not hit it off if he was working steady? Oh, you must be talking about Sean Bean. I love Sean Bean. And yes, if he got a paycheck and managed to put his kids through school and all that sort of stuff, then yes, if that's what we're talking about, I would call that 100% success. Yeah, absolutely. Great success. To quote Sacha Baron Cohen, who, for some reason, I quote, but I really despise that guy. Such an asshole, man. Like when he came down south to film whatever he was filming, where he's pretending to be from Kazakhstan or whatever, and he went into the store that specialized in old Confederate artifacts and stuff, and he's just broke a ton of shit, and he did it on purpose, right? And it's like, to me, that was just really rude, you know? It was like, all right, let's say you just don't like anything to do with Confederacy, fine, but you know, you're in these people's store just wrecking their shit for no reason, and you're not even an American. So, I mean, what in the hell do you care? Right? I mean, it's not like that's part of your history at all. You know? I mean, even our fellow brothers up north would never think of being like, you know, like that. Just coming in and, you know, wrecking somebody's business because ha ha ha. So anyway, still salty about. I don't blame you. like I said, I have all those books. I'm going to sell them to the comic shop. My local comic shop takes trade. All of those Savage World books I have, which are all in excellent condition because never played, barely read, uh, they're all gone. I don't think in my life I will ever play or run riffs at my table. But if I ever do, it will be with the actual riffs books. It will not be with that freaking Savage World knockoff shit. And like I said, we got a bunch of old beards that hang out at my store, and all they play is Savage Worlds. That's the game for them. And they'll tell me, as long as I'll sit and listen to them, about how you can play any game in any setting and any whatever with that game, right? And I sit and nod politely because these dudes are like 70 years old. But like between you guys and me and whoever else ends up listening to this, it is what I said. It's like Shadow or Savage Worlds is like there is no depth, right? You start the game and you've got your attributes that are die and your skills that are die, and that's it. Basically forever. Maybe you might have some abilities or whatever, but ultimately it's just it doesn't feel like a role-playing game. It really feels like, and in the original Savage Worlds, it leaned into this. Savage Worlds feels like the skirmish game it came from. And in the original Savage Worlds, there was adventure in the back where you fought a battle between like USGIs and I forget if it was Vietnamese or Germans or whoever it was. And it used literal like area of effect templates and, and I was sitting there thinking, well, this is actually a pretty good skirmish game, right? If you're wanting to play like, 10 versus 10 guys or something, and they all have like their basic attributes and skills and whatever, yeah, I could see that being a pretty decent skirmish game. But for a role-playing game, no, I just don't think so. I don't think it cuts the mustard. It doesn't, and before somebody, it's not that I love over complexity in my role-playing games. It's just that I need to have some meat on the bones, There needs to be more to it. So it's almost like riffs, the original riffs, borderlines too complicated, and Savage Worlds is definitely not enough there. And I'm sure with the right DM, riffs wouldn't seem too complicated at all. A lot of that might just be me seeing character sheets and being like, holy shit, what is all of this? What's up with MDCs and OCCs and all the other CCs, which I know what they are now because, if you ever hang out around Max Lau for more than 5 minutes, you're going to learn. Plus Nerdy Ogre dropping into the chat on occasion to explain to us. But yeah, so pretty much, not that it matters to anyone at all in real life, when it comes to riffs, I'd rather have the big book with the weird Splugarth alien or whatever it is on it than the Shadowrun bullshit. And I think with that, I'm going to head on out of here. And I actually got a lot straightened up. Need to straighten up some more, definitely, but I got a good start on it. Got 2 boxes that I may send out to somebody filled, and a third one underway. At least got some of the paints organized, but on my table right now, there's probably 40 mechs that I need to organize. Yeah, that's what Max says, that it looks way more complicated than it is because of, if you grew up playing like basic or advanced D&D, it's the same but with some different terminology, basically. And yeah, I'm cool with that. you know, that's cool. So that Whitworth, I said I was going to try out the Lancer gray color on. This is basically how he's looking before I actually do all the detail work. So he's got the Lancer green, he's got black, and he's got that red brown splotches. And so I'll end up painting that plasma cannon. Is going to get blue glow on the barrel. The cockpit will be copper colored. And then the missile rack, I'll probably do a metallic on. Looks like he's got a medium laser, so that's going to get yellow. He's got a small laser, that gets yellow. The way I paint the barrels, like the interior of the barrels, is basically, if it's a PPC, it gets blue. If it's a laser, it gets yellow. That's just kind of how I do it. But so, and I found this figure, which I am really flabbergasted by. Like, it's just your average ordinary female villager, but she's got a couple of kitchen knives in her hand. So it's like, she's really, and her face is really angry. She's getting ready to gank a fool. That's what's getting ready to happen there. She is getting ready to gank a fool. And, you know, God help him, I guess. I'll catch you guys tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's my actual stream, so